Hey everybody, Patricia here from Old School Lane and Manic Expression. Time for another quick news announcement. While it still hasn't been confirmed that the Rugrats revival is going to happen, we have, however, a real confirmation about another 90s show coming back. In book form. According to an interview by Mitchell Kriegman, the creator of Clarissa Explains It All, he says that he is going to be writing a brand new book of the continuation of Clarissa's story. The book is called Things I Can't Explain. The book is going to be about Clarissa as a 23-year-old trying out her career as a journalist, dealing with obstacles becoming a real adult, going through the struggles of today's economy, the luxury of a first apartment without roommates, and figuring out how to deal with everyday life, such as how to deal with her parents, and falling in love with a boy who has an on and off again girlfriend. Does this sound familiar to a lot of you? Well, most likely not. But this was actually the plot of the 1995 pilot Clarissa Now, or just Clarissa. It was originally going to be a spin-off show based on Clarissa Explains It All that was going to be airing on CBS. However, it never got picked up due to really low ratings and negative comments. So, from the looks of it, Mitchell Kriegman is thinking about doing this as a book that will be coming out in fall 2014. Now, besides the basic plot I gave you, not a lot has been revealed about it. We don't know if Ferguson is going to be in the book. We don't know if Sam is going to be in the book. We don't know if her friends or Clifford Spleen Herfler is going to be in the book, which I doubt. But, this actually sounds like it was a really interesting premise when it first came out as a pilot in 1995, but nobody else saw it interesting. I think they just moved on with their lives, and then a few years later, we all fell in love with Melissa Joan Hart again in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I just find it to be very interesting that Mitchell Kriegman is willing to try this again almost 20 years later. And I think I know the reason why he's willing to try this again in today's time. Because Girl Meets World, the continuation of the 90s sitcom Boy Meets World, is coming out on the Disney Channel, and people are getting really excited about it. They're good to see their old favorite friends again, like Corey and Topanga. And it's going to be focusing on Corey and Topanga's daughter living off her everyday life in the 21st century. Call me crazy, but I just think that right there is either a big coincidence or Mitchell Kriegman is trying to follow up to the hype of that. But then again, he always wanted to do this, and he never really found an audience to follow with it. So he decided to put it in book form, which, you know what? I completely am excited about this, because I've always wanted to know what happened to Clarissa. The thing of it is that the pilot never really got enough hype. So now we can be able to see it in book form. And who knows, maybe the book will be popular enough to go into a TV series. In fact, hopefully maybe they'll put it back on Nickelodeon. Maybe it'll be put back on Nickelodeon, as well as maybe a possible reboot of Clarissa Explains It All. Here is my talk about it in the top 10 Nickelodeon shows that should be remade. But however, looking at Clarissa Explains It All, it just screams 90s. The clothes, the hair, the pop culture references, the portrayal of all these things make it extremely outdated for today's standards. However, if you take all of those things away, Clarissa Explains It All has actually held up. The show is so realistic because the characters are relatable. Clarissa is not perfect by any means. Her family is goofy yet caring. Her brother is annoying yet intellectual. And her friends are enthusiastic yet down to earth. This show needs a remake. We can bring Clarissa to the 21st century by updating her wardrobe, her computer, her pop culture jokes, and her taste in music. So with this book, Things I Can't Explain, plus a possible reboot of Clarissa Explains It All, would be absolutely perfect if Nickelodeon can do this. That way, if the kids saw a reboot of Clarissa Explains It All, they can be able to become accustomed to the characters and the premise, while people who grew up with Clarissa Explains It All can be able to watch Things I Can't Explain. And who knows, maybe the reboot of Clarissa Explains It All will eventually have its own version of Things I Can't Explain. You can be able to draw in the people who grew up with it and the people who are introducing themselves to it. You know what that means? That's right, ratings and money. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, but didn't you say that you weren't excited about the Rugrats revival? This is different. This is something completely brand new. Things I Can't Explain is going to be in a book form. And if the people in Nickelodeon are smart enough, they'll think to themselves, the new shows aren't exactly doing very well. Why don't we take this brand new book of a continuation of a show that people grew up with and make it into a TV series? And possibly rebooting Clarissa Explains It All to the 21st century, then we'll be able to get not only the people who grew up with it back, then we'll get a new generation back. You see, that right there is brand new stuff, as opposed to just reviving a show that came out from the 90s and will most likely not put in fresh new ideas. But with this, however, is different. You have something new, something that we haven't seen before in a very long time, something that is different. So that right there excites the hell out of me. And I'm hoping that when the book comes out in 2014, you people start buying it. That way it can gain enough hype. That way executives will start thinking to themselves, let's make this into a TV series. But it'll most likely be picked up by another TV channel. Most likely, probably the CW will probably pick this up. Trust me, the CW channel may be a little bit hit and miss, but at least they know what good shows to pick up sometimes. But come on, let's have it be brought into Nickelodeon. That way, the kids who grew up with Clarissa Explains It All can be able to see it in their eyes. She'll be an adult, just like we are, and she's struggling through life, just like we most likely are. And she's going through real problems, just like in the original, but except that the problems are real life adult problems. Like keeping a job and finding an apartment and struggling to live by herself and, dating and, relationships and all that stuff. Yes! Yes, I've been waiting for something like this. But unfortunately, I don't think Nickelodeon will be smart enough to pick this up unless the network goes through a huge change. And from the looks of things that are going on right now, they desperately need it. They desperately need a new change. They're losing ratings, they're losing money, and they're losing fans. The fans who grew up with Nickelodeon when it first came out in 1977, they've already stopped watching it when the 90s came along. The kids who grew up with Nickelodeon in the 90s pretty much stopped around the 2000s. And the kids who are growing up in the 2000s, well, they're going off to somewhere else to find their entertainment. Either Cartoon Network, or the Hub, or the Disney Channel, or somewhere else. I don't know where else. But still, this could be a really exciting thing to see. And I can't wait for the book to come out. I give high kudos for Mitchell Kriegman to try this concept again, because it was a really good idea to start with back in 1995. It's just too bad that it didn't find an audience. This is his way of trying again. Or maybe this is just his way of going along with the hype of Girl Meets World. I don't know. But still, I'm excited about it. What do you think of this? Are you excited about it? Are you going to pick up the book when it comes out, or are you not? What are your Clarissa Explains It All memories? And if they ever do make a TV series of Things I Can't Explain, would you watch it? And if there ever is going to be a reboot of Clarissa Explains It All, what changes and what things that you want to keep from the original would you like to see? Post it in the comments below. Until then, this has been Patricia from Old School Lane. Hope to see you soon. Thanks for listening.